Hey guys, welcome to the very first video of this new channel that I've created. My name is Coach Greg Roussel, and at the time of recording this video, I am working at Gregory Portland High School in South Texas, and this is my new channel that I've started called Modern Athletics, to where the goal of this channel is to help coaches in our profession use technology, software, Excel, different apps, to where we could become more knowledgeable, to help us become more efficient in the work that we do, and to give us the tools to make ourselves better as far as helping our athletes out. Okay. The very first video of this series, or I wouldn't say this series, but this channel, is going over this free display capture software that is actually very well known, with the exception of the coaching profession. The software I'm using right now is called OBS, otherwise known as Open Broadcast Software. And this is a very good tool that we could use to basically show our kids what they need help on, whether it's scouting an opponent during football, whether it's just looking at ourselves and some of the mistakes that we can correct and help our kids in the long run during the season. This is a very good piece of software, and it's free. When the pandemic hit about 10 months ago, people were trying to adapt to getting used to technology that most schools were shut down completely, and we had to operate from home. We had a lot of off-season stuff going on, and this brought a lot of technology trying to be incorporated, whether it was Microsoft Teams or just a whole bunch of different apps coming into the picture. There's also some screen recorders coming around the last couple years with trying to digitize, especially stuff for football, try to digitize scouting reports or just personal evaluations for different athletes. And what I wanted to show you is that there is a free version of these screen recorders, and it's currently what I'm showing you guys right now. This piece of software has been around for 15 years. Like I said, it's free. This has been used in different media, entertainment and video game, like streaming especially. And to me, this is something that we could adapt. We could really adopt to our profession, and it's not really that hard to use. And you're getting a really good quality product for something you don't have to pay for. Okay. This is something that's really going to be very useful for a number of reasons. And really, as far as football is concerned, which is what most of us are probably doing anyway. If you're looking at this channel, we're talking about football all the time, probably, when we come to this channel and we're looking over data and all this stuff. This is a big piece of software to where we could show our kids, and they could also see it themselves, along with having it to where they could rewind and look ahead, and it just doesn't have to be on a Saturday scouting report or a Sunday overview of the stuff that they need to learn and to try to get stuff fixed. So, Open Broadcast Software, OBS for short. Okay, let me show you what this is all about. Just be prepared. It's going to be visually, it's going to be a lot, right? Because right now you're seeing two things. You're seeing me in the bottom right corner. You're also seeing my logo for this brand new channel. So what I'm going to show you is I'm going to put on the display capture. Just watch the main screen as it changes drastically, because this is the display capture. What you're seeing right now is you're seeing the different sources. You're seeing my microphone go off. You're seeing a whole bunch of different things going on at the same time. Now, visually, not knowing anything, it could be a huge headache, because you just don't know where to start. This video is just for that. This video is just to go over all the basic necessities of OBS. While it looks complicated, in the grand scheme of things, it's really not. Okay, we'll break down just little by little, starting with our sources first. Okay, so right now you're seeing 4 sources coming out. You see a video capture device, which is my camera, which is the webcam, whether you're using something like I have a high definition camera, or whether it's your laptop with the basic stock screen or stock camera at the very front. You have your display capture, which is what you see as far as the main screen goes, where you can see my cursor. There's like multitudes of them. You also have the microphone, also known as an audio input source. Mine is called a Blue Yeti. That's the brand of microphone that I have. And also my still image that you saw earlier, about a few seconds ago. We start with that first. I mean, this is all the stuff that, you can use to make your videos pop, to make to where you could show important things. So that would be the starting point. Okay. Now, let me just go through a quick test run of like basically the main function of what we could use this for. Most of us being football coaches, we use Huddle a lot, and we can change up to where we could personally evaluate our players, send them a video, grade them if we need to, and they could go over their stuff over and over because it's going to be in a video format. You could do a whole bunch of stuff with this. So let me just show you, let's just do a quick run through of what I mean. So I'm going to minimize OBS, and right now you're seeing Huddle. You're seeing the main thing of what most of us are going to be using. I know a lot of different coaches coach some different sports. Huddle is mostly going to be focused on football. And let me just show you, like right now you're seeing that this video over here is not in full screen. Everything you see right now, whether it's looking at the different games, whether it's looking at the different data, everything you see right now is being recorded into a video. So whether I make this full screen, it's going to copy what I'm actually doing on the screen into something that's, what you see right now, this high quality image from our cameras, is what's going to be outputted into a video format. So if you wanted to do something like, we're going to go review the game that we just played yesterday, and if we wanted to do something where you wanted to do it by different positions, like you have different position coaches come and evaluate their players, send them a video and tell them specifically, and they can look over it as much as they want. So that way they don't have to rely on just looking at it once through a team meeting. This is one of the things you could do. So let's say we have, if I'm the wide receivers coach and I start a play, the video is going to work. It's going to record every single one of these. Okay. So my receivers that you could be talk about like stock blocking or trying to get a particular target. Everything you see that I'm doing right now that you could do on Huddle, right now it's being recorded. So everything you do, it's going to record it. So if I wanted to talk to my players on a personal basis or by position, you could do this and you could send it to them. Okay, you just don't have to rely on what you do on Saturday morning or afternoon workouts after a football game to do this. This is something that you can incorporate to where they could see this over and over. So if they miss something, they could just go back in the video and look, okay, this is what coach was talking about. Maybe I didn't hear him properly. Or, okay, that's what we're trying to see. Because in a team meeting, if they miss it, and they might not ask questions. They might be too embarrassed to ask. Where in this particular format, if you're a position coach, you could tell all your players or just specific ones what you need, and it helps them out. Okay, this is like one of the main functions you could use this for. You go to the next play, or you go to a different angle. Okay, or you can just go right to the next play. Okay, just go on from there. Huddle, you do anything in Huddle, you could filter the plays, and it's going to record it. Most of us are going to be going through all of our plays, or if we need to filter out plays, or we need to filter it by players or receivers, we can do that, and it's just going to record it. And most of y'all, if you do incorporate this, if you do incorporate OBS, it's really not, like I said, it's really not that hard to use. We can go through this, and basically from there on, you could customize this. You can make this a team sort of thing, or you can make it by position. You can make it by individual player. If you have maybe a large staff to where you could break down film for certain individuals. But this is the main function of it. I'm surprised not a lot of people are using it. Lots of different coaches that I have seen use different screen recorders. They have to pay for it, or there's a free version where there's like a 5-minute limitation to it, or some sort of constraint like that. OBS does not do that. Basically, what you're constrained to is the hard drive space that you have on your computer. Basically, that's it. From there, I mean, the sky's the limit. Like I said, I'm very surprised that something like this that has been out for 15 years, not a lot of people know about it, or not a lot of people are using this. And I think this is one of the best screen recorders / media editors or media visualizers, whatever you want to call this. This is one of the best in the business. This is mostly used in different form, like different entertainments, like independent, like low budget, like films, as far as maybe like, if you're talking about like tutorials, or even really the main thing that this has been used for over the past 15 years is really video game streaming, because video games use a lot of information. And for us, while the big thing for us is we're using video, that takes a lot of our space, but we're not really doing a whole lot of other functions past that. So this is a really good software to do something like this. If you want to do something like a whiteboard, or if you want to do anything, basically whatever shows up on the screen, it is in your control. And the kids, anybody that sees this will see it. They could play it back. They could move it forward. They could go a little bit faster if they wanted to. They could skip around. It is in their possession. Okay. So if you want to download this piece of software, this is a video highly recommending this. Okay. You're going to go to obsproject.com/download. Here are your options. Most of us, we're in a profession where we are Microsoft, we are PC people, whether it is desktop, whether it's laptops. Most of our softwares will be based on Windows. And this is the Windows 10 logo right here. So all you would just do, click that, or you would just download the installer. Okay. Some other coaches, maybe even in the college ranks, will probably use Apple. And that's, Apple is really expensive, but they also have their pros and cons with doing this like this. But you have two different types of this, and then you also have Linux. Not a lot of people really use Linux just overall. Like I said, the most common thing for us is we're probably going to be using PC, but if you use Mac, they have it also. You just go to download the installer, go through the very first initial menu, and then you're going to basically what's going to show up is going to be a blank screen. So right now you're seeing my display capture. You're seeing a blank screen when you first start it. The first thing you want to add, or one of the two things you want to add, is if you want to do the same thing like I'm doing, you just want to go ahead to your sources and you want to hit this plus button. So what you're going to do, if you want to add a microphone, it's going to be this audio input capture. You'll click that. There will be two options. So if I've already added microphones previously, like I have now, or if you want to do like a multi-microphone setup to get different angles or maybe compare microphones, it would already be the stuff that you have installed. But if you don't have a microphone installed yet through OBS, not saying that you don't have a microphone currently installed on your laptop or desktop, that's not what that means. You're just adding that source that you have into OBS. So you're going to click Create New. It's going to light up with a dark circle. You can name this however you want. You can name this Microphone 1. You can name this the brand that you want. And you're just going to click OK. And it'll go over and just make sure. I'll show you this right now. Right now, my audio is probably a little bit wonky because I have two microphones going on. And you'll see your microphone setup. You'll hit OK. In this case, for me, I'm going to hit Cancel. And just to get this audio quality not be doubled up, I'm going to go ahead and click and delete this. But you can see that this audio input capture is now added to your source. I'm going to go ahead and delete that because I want to get back to my Blue Yeti and to where y'all could actually understand me properly. The second thing, your display capture, will be the same thing. You're going to add your source, which is this plus button under the sources section. You do a display capture right here. It'll be the same process. And what's going to show up? It's going to show up this very large screen, giant mirrors. This is what it should look like overall. Now, there has been a problem, especially for laptops, where if you try to add this display capture, it might not show a screen right away. A lot of times when you do something like that, usually you have to change your settings with your laptop or maybe even some older desktops. Let me go ahead and cancel this out. So if you for sure see this, you're good to go. Your display capture is armed and ready to go. And I'm just going to go ahead and delete this. Now, one of the common problems, like I was just saying, is that there'll be a black screen. Let me go back to Google, and all you need to do is a Google search over trying to find like the black screen. Mostly it's common in laptops. I know for my Lenovo laptop that the school gives us, trying to do stuff like this, you have to change the graphics settings. And if you want to see like this right here, you can just see it in my display. This right here, I'll probably link this in the description. And it'll go over like your Windows 10 software, which most of us use right now. That is the latest software from Microsoft. You'll go to your graphics setting, and you'll basically change a few settings to where your display capture will show up. Now, once you go ahead and change the settings, I think you're going to have to get out of OBS and restart the whole OBS program, and it should pop up. So if you want to add stuff like a still image, like you saw in the first part of the video, something like this. Okay, it's going to be roughly the same setup where you go into your all your sources, go over to image, create a new image, and like for me, my images are going to be on my desktop. That's just a personal preference, but most of your stuff could be elsewhere. You're just going to browse the files like you do for most applications on Microsoft or whatever you're using. And so for me, like mine will be like the banner logo for the channel. I'm going to hit OK. This is what it's going to look like. And then also resizing wise, now you can move the image to where you can resize this particular asset. So if you want to make this the whole screen, you see these red squares on the edge, and you just go from there. Okay, so like for me, I'm going to move this over here. I'm going to size it up to where now it's going to take over the entire screen. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and delete that. Okay, now also all the other assets, all your other sources can be moved too. So like you just saw that I moved the display capture back. Okay, so let's go ahead, and if you also notice that these eyes, the sources, it's going to show what you want to display. So if I want to turn off my camera, I can go ahead and do that. You could also do it with the microphone, but that's going to be your main source of audio input anyway. And if I want to get rid of the display capture and just show like the main original picture, and you can see it's a little bit off, I'm just going to go ahead and stretch it to where it should fit the screen now. Okay, but all these are movable. All these assets are movable. So what I'm saying is, let's try the display capture and then go back to the video capture. Like this, for instance, you could move the camera over to the bottom left corner, or the top left corner, top right, or you could even make this image bigger. If you wanted a full screen image, you could do that too. The display capture is also to where you could make it movable. If you see these gray striped things over here, like if I were to get out of bounds, that means it's on my canvas and won't actually show up on my video. I'm not sure if you can really see it on my end, but it should show up. Yeah, it should show up on the left side. But when you do your overall video, it should not show up. Okay, and then like the image, you could also resize like we just showed you. So as far as the sources, you could even change it to where you could have multiple videos in the corners. You could have it to where you could have multiple images. So if you wanted like banners or like your school logo, you could absolutely do that. When you start OBS, just make sure your settings and your video output is to either an MOV or an MP4. So let me show you that real quick. Let me go back to display capture. It's going to be, and I'll actually move my camera box that I have from my sources. And over here in this corner, you're going to go to settings. So you're going to click that. If you want to adjust some other stuff, like your audio, for instance, like if it's not the right audio setting, you could go to here. If you kind of really know your stuff with audio, like you're a little bit more of an expert, at least a little bit more advanced than other people, then you could play around with the audio settings. But really, the base settings, the core settings is already really set, especially when you start with the recording over the streaming. As far as your primary like responsibility, or your primary function for OBS, it's already going to be good to go, with the exception of one thing: your output. It's going to be between your stream tab and your audio tab. It's going to look like a screen with an arrow coming out. And it's going to be under the recording section right here, the recording format. I've already changed mine to an MP4, but most of y'all, if y'all try this out, it's going to be in what's known as an MKV. An MKV is a really good file to go with, but for most computers or most of the standard software that's on there, it's not really going to read an MKV. An MP4 or an MOV file is more universal, and so it's highly recommended to do one of those two formats. It makes your lives easier. So just make sure first you're not recording before you change any settings. That's another thing I need to add. So if you're not recording, just make sure you have an MP4 and all the stuff that you want. But like I said, this is the only change you need to make sure to make your lives easier. And basically that's all I got. Try to use this. It's a really good piece of software. Like I said, it's free. You don't have to pay for any of this, and anybody can download this. Why other coaches are not using this, they probably don't know about it. This is really a piece of software that is meant for like the video game industry, especially the streamers and especially the Twitch stuff that has been out for the last few years. This is like the go-to thing for that. But as far as our secondary function, it acts as a really good screen recorder, and you don't have to pay for this. And it's better than most software, like display screen recording software out there already. To me, this is, if I'm going to do something with my kids, if I become a coordinator, if I become a head coach and I want to do stuff like this is what I'm going to use. No doubt about it, this is what I'm going to use. If you want to help the channel out, or if you have any suggestions or comments, leave them below. Or if you want to just go to my Twitter, follow me on Twitter. You can send me a personal message asking basically anything that you need help with. I'll try to do my best. Usually if you get me on Twitter, I could usually respond in the same day. If you have any suggestions for new content, just leave it below. Also, like this video, share it to some of your other coaches, whether it's your other assistant coaches or coaches on staff, coaches within your district, or just other people that would be generally interested in stuff like this. Because like I said, this is a channel to where we're going to incorporate different pieces of software, make you better at stuff that you kind of know, but we're going to enhance your knowledge, because there's stuff that a lot of coaches don't know how to do that could be very advantageous to them. So that's going to be the stuff we go over. But like I said, that's all I have for you guys. This is Coach Roussel signing out with Modern Athletics, and I'll see you guys in the next video.